Hey, this is Gromit, and here are a few tips for playing Rainbow Six Siege. All of the tips in this video are from playing the closed beta, and most of the tips apply to both terrorist hunts and the multiplayer PvP modes. Number 1, as of right now during the beta you can get 800 Renown points just for watching the 3 short tutorials, and they're also really useful for learning the basics of the game as well, so I'd recommend watching them. It literally takes like 2 minutes to watch them, and you'll get 800 points, which means that you can buy an operator and upgrade their guns before you even get into a game, so I definitely recommend doing that before you start playing, or if you haven't already done it then do it now. Number 2, when you're customizing your gun you can see the recoil pattern for that particular gun, and also how the pattern is affected by different modifications. The recoil pattern is different for different guns, so be aware of this before you choose your gun, and you can use this to better guide your shots when you're firing full auto when you're in the game. Following on from that, number 3, when you're aiming at an enemy you want to aim for their lower stomach and then just let the recoil move the shots up onto their head. And then when the shots reach their head you can pull back down on the aim to keep the shots aimed at their head. And that seems to be the quickest and easiest way of killing people, and you'll get the extra points for a headshot if you end up with the last bullet hitting them in the head. Number 4 is move fast. I don't mean go charging in solo, but try not to linger around in one area for too long. If you use a breaching charge then you need to move into the room as soon as it goes off so that you can use all of the smoke and debris as cover, and you can take the enemy by surprise while they're still confused and before they realise that the enemy's attacking them. Same with flashbangs, they only last a short amount of time, so try and make the most of them and move in as soon as they go off. And don't stay in one area for too long, otherwise the enemy will come around behind you or flank you, or you'll give the enemy an opportunity to plan what they can do to counter your attack, so try and be as quick as possible without getting killed. Number 5, control your shots for ranged kills. You can use up on the D-pad to change your fire rate, but it's also quite easy to just control the trigger and fire single shots even when you're in full auto. Number 6, check your corners, pretty important one in this game, and you need to try and check all the corners if you can, because the AI and players will try and hide in the corners and try and ambush you as you walk through, catch you off guard. Best to try and check all of the corners before you actually move into the room if you're able to, rather than just charging in and having an enemy end up behind you. And if there are 2 directions that you have to check and you have to expose yourself to one of the sides, then try and pick the most likely spot their enemies are going to be in to check first. So for example, if your team's clearing the left side of the building, then it's better to look to the right, because that's where enemies are, you would expect more enemies to be on that side. And also if you have to choose between checking a doorway into another room and like a dead end corner, then it's always better to check the doorway because there's more likely to be enemies through there. Number 7 is watch your back. The enemies, especially in terrorist hunt, will occasionally leave the building and end up coming up behind you, especially if you linger in one area for too long. So even if you think you've cleared the room behind you, if you don't move through the building quick enough, you'll end up with enemies coming up behind you, especially if you don't check the corners properly as well. And if you're moving as a team and you have say 2 teammates in a doorway, then you're probably better off turning around and covering the back to make sure no one comes up behind you, rather than just getting in everyone's way and having 3 people look into the same doorway. Number 8, support the support classes. The support classes usually sacrifice their primary attack weapon, such as an assault rifle, to be replaced with a shield, so you really need to make the most of these people. I've seen in a lot of games that too many people leave the shields on their own, which makes them pretty much useless. There's no point having a shield on their own, they'd be much better off with an assault rifle. So make the most of them, let their shields go into rooms first and follow them as much as you can, just so they aren't wasting their time choosing a shield. And also if you see someone using a drone, then try and cover them, make sure an enemy doesn't sneak up on them and kill them. Number 9, stay together. So splitting up is fine if you know where your teammates are and if you do it in a coordinated way, but if everybody just goes off in their different directions and tries to attack from different ways, then you're usually not going to be very effective that way. Having 5 players moving together is a really strong force to take on, and it's by far the most effective way of clearing out a building. But the main point to take away from this is just don't sit back and camp. Even if they're using the drone to mark targets or whatever, you're much better off having 5 people all going into a building at the same time. And when you're moving together in tight spaces, it's probably better to space yourselves out a bit, because all it takes is 1 suicide bomb or 1 burst of gunfire to take all of you out. And also if you're defending, then it's not always a good idea for everybody to be in the same room, especially when you have to defend an objective, as this is just an easy way for the attackers to get loads of kills using a breaching charge or grenade into the room. So definitely try and space yourselves out. And number 10, revive friendlies. A lot of the time when you're playing you'll end up with a friendly who gets injured and goes down and they have to be revived. And the revive icon can be a bit hard to spot when you're in combat and people are shooting at you. So keep your eyes open for the revive icon and don't just assume that somebody else is going to get them up. If you're able to get to them, then try and get them up if you can. And you only have 5 people on your team, so it's best to keep as many of the people alive as you can. So that's it for this video. I've been Gromit. Be sure to check out the next part where there'll be 10 more tips on this game, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already to see more videos about this game when it releases on December 1st.
Go save the boy.
I can't, I'm dead.
I'm not dead. bleeding out.
Yeah, I'm fucking 6 feet under.